Good morning 𝗳_SAT viewers. So, today we are going to discuss the paper pattern of degree college lecturers, that is paper 3 statistics. So, that means we are going to actually appear for the examination for the post of degree college lecturers in Gurukul institutions in Telangana. So, in this program actually we are going to discuss about major the scheme of examination and pattern, as well as the nature of the questions will be discussed. So, in this regard the nature of the questions we shall discuss even types of the questions which may appear in the examination. After that, so overall the major topics of the syllabus will be discussed. So, in the following way we will discuss about the even topics which are the topics involved in the each topic also will be discussed in very clear manner, and also next we will discuss the questions, model questions also. The weightage of the questions will be given for the different topics will be discussed, and so next how to attempt the strategy, how to write examination, attempt the examination also will be discussed in this session, during this session, and also the reference books will be discussed. So, to discuss this session, to continue this session, we are honored to have the great personality Dr. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 Charyulu, the professor and head of the Department of Statistics, Usmania University College of Science, Usmania University, Telangana. Sir, welcome sir to our studio. So,
good morning to 𝗳_SAT viewers. So, today we will discuss about how to prepare for the tribe degree college lecturers in statistics examination, and the examination pattern and detailed syllabus and the weightage of questions and the model questions. So, that we will discuss it.
Okay. So, thank you sir. Actually I have one sir question sir. So, what is the statistics and what is the importance of statistics in day to day life situation, and how the statistics is evolved? So, what are the contributions of the great mathematicians towards this statistics sir?
Yeah, statistics is like the data collection, interpretation and forecasting or estimation and testing and drawing the conclusions. So, major is we are having one particular task related to that we will gather the information and we are interpreting in a meaningful way, and we are trying to estimate the some of the values, and also we are testing it and by using some statistical tools. And there are many statisticians, they are contributed of our Indians and also the world.
Oh, Indians also there.
Yeah, many of the Indians, because one of the major, the famous statisticians, around more than 50 statisticians are from India.
Yes, in the month of June also we celebrated his birthday.
Yeah, 𝗳𝗚
𝗚𝗚,
who is the founder of the Indian Statistical Institute. Like that, he is also, there are many statisticians even from ISI, around more than 30 professors who received the Padma Shri awards.
Okay. Dr. 𝗂𝗏 Rao is also one of the.
Yeah, 𝗂𝗏 Rao is one. Srinivasa Vardhan, who received the equivalent of the Nobel Laureate prize in from the American Mathematical and Statistical Society. Like many of the other, even we are the Ministry of the Statistics, National Sample Survey organizations.
Okay.
These are all under the guidance of the Indian Statistical Institute, Calcutta.
Okay, thank you sir. As far as our examination is concerned, so what is the scheme of the examination and its pattern sir? Could you please elaborate about this one sir?
Yeah. The degree college lectures, you can see the slide. We are having the paper 2, paper 1 is the general studies, and paper 2 is the subjective
that is concerned subject
discipline.
Yes.
And we are having the 100 marks and with a duration of 2 hours, and the detailed syllabus that we are going about the same, just to focus on the slide. And we are having the major is we have to remember there is a negative marking is there in the answering of the question.
Oh.
So, the most of them they have to be careful about this point. So, if any question the answered is wrong, the 1/4 mark will be deducted. and that means if they are having very confidence, and then it is better to attempt. If they are left blank, there is no issue at all, and no marks will be deducted. And other than that, so there is no problem. And the levels and standards
as far as levels are concerned.
Yeah. So there are depends upon the examination and the depends upon the paper setters. The mostly just if you are taking the standard examination of UGC CSIR and the set examination, they are following easy level is 15% and 25% is moderate, and difficulty level is 60%. And because they want to take only the 6% of the total the appeared students.
Okay.
So due to that, the difficulty level they will increase it. Even for the general competitive examination also, the number of candidates appearing is more. So there is a more chances there for increasing the difficulty level to 60% and moderate is 20% and easy level is 15%. If there is no much competition for the examination, generally they will go for the general examination like the common entrance examinations. 60%.
So that means as far as the examination is concerned, there may be easy level and average level and difficulty level.
Will be 3 levels they will maintain it.
Continue, sir.
If it is a common general entrance examination, they will go for 60% is easy level. Because the students benefit of point of view, they will consider it.
This is the
selection, if it is a recruitment
exam.
process, the difficulty level they will increase it.
Exactly.
Because they have to train the future generation.
Yes.
So, and the other examination they will go for the in the moderate way around 40%, 30% and 30%.
Nature of the questions, sir, regarding the nature of the questions.
Yeah. Generally the whenever they are asking the any of the examiners they are framing, there are theoretical point of view, some definition, concepts and properties and theorems, because it is a mathematical oriented paper. So this is one aspect of a framing, and problems and methodology oriented, because they must familiar with the procedure of the problem solvation. Even though the new problem is given, how to attack the problem and how to solve it. So they must be familiar. In that aspect they will ask it, and identification is one of the major tasks. So for that generally they will go for the confusing pattern, the matching problem they will ask it. And also they will ask for some classificatory problems like statements and identifying. Suppose most of the theorems are there. So remembering of the theorems and the major, the assumptions and what you have to deduce it.
So that means they need to remember the statements of the theorems also.
Yeah, because the statement of the theorem is major containing the major assumptions or the practical situation for applying of the theorem or whatever the formula that is generated from that.
Okay.
So that's why
based on that the problematic problems will be numerical problems will be given.
Yeah. So based upon the theorem, they will ask the reasoning oriented the problems also. They will ask it. So and some of the problems are the reasoning oriented problems. That means they have to deduce it, not directly may be available in the books. And some of the comprehensive research, if they want to go and test in an innovative way, so generally they will go for the research study oriented, not directly available in of the books.
Though it may not be available in the test books, reference books also.
Yeah, that
so
type
that
of the
is a critical type of the questions may be asked. So thank you, sir. And one more thing, sir, regarding to the syllabus. What is the prescribed syllabus for this statistics, sir, for DNA?
Yeah, the prescribed syllabus that is
major topics
are, there are totally 10 units of the syllabus, and one is the first unit is containing the probability theory, and second unit is the distribution theory, and one third unit is estimation theory, and testing of hypothesis, and non-parametric tests, multivariate tests, and sampling techniques, and linear models and design and analysis of experiments, and the optimization techniques. But the optimization techniques they are divided into two parts. So 1 and 2. So these are the major 10 units. But out of these 10 units, we are treating that the major core papers are the probability theory distribution theory, and estimation theory, testing of hypothesis and non-parametric inference tests are treated as the statistical inference as one paper actually. That is also one of the major core paper for the statistics.
That's very important for this examination.
And multivariate test is also treated as a core under the part of the distribution theory.
Okay.
Multivariate distributions and testing, which is application orientation, but the syllabus is somewhat divided into separately in the same. And another is major application oriented papers are the sampling techniques, experimental and operations research.
Okay, sir. Sir, as far as the probability is concerned, so what are the subtopics need to be kept in mind while preparing the examination?
Before that, generally if you are going for the whatever this 10 units, the more weightages when you are going it.
Okay. Okay.
The weightage is more for the core papers of the probability theory and distribution theory. Generally in any of the examination.
So that means more emphasis will be given these two topics.
Major two topics. And the next is the statistical inference, that is estimation theory, testing of hypothesis, non-parametric tests, and the application oriented the remaining the 5 parts.
So that means can we suggest these 4 topics are very some sort of
crucial
important.
Part.
We cannot say important.
No, these
crucial.
are the crucial.
They play crucial role.
Crucial role. So without that they cannot shine in the statistics.
Statistics. Okay.
So that's why these are the core papers that what you are treating it.
So for probability, sir, please elaborate about the probability.
Related to the probability. Yes. So if I am dividing that into some several sections, the probability theory. So 7 to 8 sections are there, and the first part, the basic part of the probability. Generally, they will ask about the basic concept, one question on the basic probability.
So
just like the probability problems.
So what are the key elements of basic probability, sir? Key points.
Like probability addition theorem, multiplication theorem, Bayes theorem, and related to that the problem solutions.
Questions will be given.
So they won't ask directly as a theorem. They will ask the related to the problem,
application point.
Yes. How for the candidate is digested that theorem.
Okay.
So that is more emphasis.
That means how he is able, how he or she is able to apply the theorem in the problems. So that may be questioned. Is it, sir?
Yeah. Yes. But they will be familiar in the probability theory solvation of the problem if the candidate is perfection about the major is permutations and combinations in mathematics.
Okay, this is very important.
Yeah. So without the permutations and combinations, it is very difficult to solve the problems on the probability theory.
Okay, that means in order to actually solve the problems based on the probability, first we need to practice even permutations and combinations also.
Generally they are studied in the intermediate level, the permutations and combinations, which is a major crucial
important
playing a key role in this one. And the another section is random variables.
Random variables.
So generally random variables is a key part for the total statistics, and wherever any of the branch that you are talking about, we are talking about the random variables and distribution, the basic concepts and the simple problems and the properties of the random variables. So here generally they will ask 1 or 2 questions about the random variable concepts.
Okay.
And the
sir, you just discussed about the even distributions also. So any type, what are the types of the distributions are there in the included in the syllabus?
That I will come to later, because that is distribution theories comes under the second unit part.
Okay.
So here mathematical expectation is there. So mathematical expectation is one of the crucial part, and which is mainly used to study the properties of the whatever the data that is you have collected, that is, or whatever the distribution of the random variables. So for that generally are using the mathematical expectation. There are a number of the properties are there, like even that you are trying to study about the moments, the nature of the distribution of the data, and moment generating functions, and characteristic function, cumulative generating function, probability generating function. So that there are several the characteristics also that you are going to study it, and generally they will ask about 3 to 4 questions about the mathematical expectation.
Okay.
And the another part, even when they are studying about the same, the candidate has to prepare in the basic concepts in the probability theory. Just you can go through about the slide in the part. So, what are the basic concepts for understanding of the probability theory? Like the basic definitions of the probability, and the definitions of giant probability, marginal probability, and the addition, multiplication, and Bayes theorems and Boole's inequality, and also it is related to the problem solvations. And also they have to concentrate about the mathematical expectation. So, all these definitions they have to, first of all they have to digest before solving the problem.
Sir, one thing, sir, you highlighted that 35, 36, 37. Could you elaborate about 35, 36, 37?
These are the generally we are calling as moment inequalities or probability inequalities. These are not directly mentioned in the syllabus, that what, but these are automatically the part of the probability.
Okay.
So, whenever they want to calculate what is the probability for a random variable taking the value is more than 50. So, we have to evaluate. For that, generally are going to use this inequalities.
Inequality.
Yeah. So, these
that means at most or at least
that
will
the upper bound or lower bound that you are trying to evaluate it.
Yes.
So, for those these inequalities, even though those are not directly mentioned in the syllabus, but those are automatically is there in the any of the examination pattern. And characteristic functions are playing a key role in the total probability theory part.
Okay, sir, distribution theory, sir, please could you elaborate about the distribution theory also, subtopics also.
And in the distribution theory, we are having the major is theoretical distributions.
Theoretical distribution.
There are some discrete distributions are there, and continuous distributions of univariate and multivariate distributions. So, all those distributions, the basic or physical conditions for the occurrence of these distributions and their properties. So, whatever the characteristics that I mentioned in the probability theory, all those properties they have to derive for these distributions.
Okay.
So, this is one, and generally on the distributions is one of the most confusing and crucial part.
Okay.
And generally any of the examination they will ask around minimum of 6 to 7 questions about
from this topic
distribution part.
Oh, okay.
And transformations of the random variables is one of the major. It seems to be a small, but which is playing a key role in the total distribution theory. So, transforming one random variable and one distribution to another distribution, and all these parts, transformation of one dimensional random variables and two dimensional random variables. So, minimum of 2 or 3 problems on transformations of the random variables. Okay. But they must be familiar about the procedure of the solvation of the problems. Okay. So, in the distribution is totally is a procedural oriented, and also we are having sampling distributions. The sampling distributions like T distribution, F distribution, and chi-square distribution, and their applications. Generally, their applications are there in the degree, even though they are not directly there in the syllabus part, but those are also they have to treat as
highlighted.
Okay. And the another is order statistics. The distribution of the order statistics, the computation of the marginal distribution or giant distribution of 2 order statistics. These are also the derivative and problematic oriented. So, these are all the procedural oriented paper.
So, thank you, sir. I request all the aspirants, please note down all these important factors, because the SAR has produced more than actually 10 PhDs from Osman University. Under his guidance, he completed 10 PhDs, and SAR actually presented more than 100 papers in national and international journals. So, let us make use of SAR services in this during session. So, please I request all the aspirants, please note down. If you have any doubt, please do not hesitate to ask us. SAR will clarify your doubts also. So, if you follow all these strategies, definitely you will success in your examination. Sir, please continue, sir. Next.
There are multivariate distributions are there, and multivariate multinomial distribution and multivariate normal distribution, and their properties and physical conditions. These are also under the part of the multivariate, and also we are having the correlation and regression part. So, these are the major topics are there in the distribution theory, and on the overall of the distribution theory we can expect around 10 to 15 questions. So, 12 to 15 that you can expect.
12 to 15 questions from distribution theory. 12 to 15 questions. Yeah. Please note down 12 to 15 questions,
and also
come from this distribution theory.
Here I specified some of the major reference books. One is C.R. Rao, the linear statistical inference and
just we discussed about Dr. C.R. Rao. Yes,
so, another is Parimal Mukhopadhyay, mathematical statistics, Johnson and Coach distribution statistics, and Bhuyan, the distribution theory, and the fundamentals of mathematical statistics by 𝗧𝗦𝗃𝗃 Gupta and V.K. Kapoor, or fundamentals of new mathematical statistics, Bansilar and Sanjay Arora. So, these are all the major books that will cover the total syllabus of the DL part, even the mathematical sciences, CSIR examination and the set examination.
So, it will be useful for even set and net examination, those who are preparing for net examinations.
Yes,
and
because
CSIR
the syllabus is common for almost set examination, even our university, Osmania University, PhD entrance examination is also the same syllabus, and it also covers the mathematical sciences of CSIR UGC examination.
Great, sir.
And even for the TSPSC regular whatever the DL, the same syllabus is there.
Same syllabus be prescribed. Thank you, sir. Could you please explain one to our problems related to this probability as well as this estimation and also distribution, sir?
So, here I had given one of the problem. Suppose x be a random variable, follows a uniform distribution over the interval -1 to +1. Now, we have to find out the density function of a transformed random variable y, where y is a cos pi x. So, this is generally called a distributional transformation, univariate transformation of the random variable. So, generally the transformations, either it may be one univariate or two-dimensional random variable. So, minimum of 2 or 3 questions
like this questions may
and also that you can expect like the distribution application. The lifetime of a certain piece of equipment is follows a one continuous random variable over the interval 0 to infinite, and its probability function is x into e to the power of some kx minus kx. Then we have to find out what is the lifetime is more than 2 hours.
So, once again inequality plays a major role here.
And it is one of the exponential distribution application.
Sir, now we have the one phone call, sir. Let us receive the phone call. After that, we shall continue our session. Hello. Hello, ma'am. Actually, tell your name and ask your question. Please unmute your TV. Okay, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Please, you can proceed with your question.
Hello.
Okay, we are getting your question. Please. No problem. You can speak in Telugu also, no problem. Why it's not related to the health problems, amma? Please. Okay, continue, sir. The question is not related to us actually, no problem.
Even they will ask some of the statements. So, we have to identify the correct statement among the given. So, they are must be familiar in the identification. So, it may be some distributional transformations, or they ask about the direct application of the distribution. So, we have to identify whether the statement is correct or wrong.
Okay, that means this is the one of the types of the questions. Types of the questions. So identify the correct statement or sometimes incorrect
statements. Okay. Out of the given set of the statement, which is the wrong
only
statement.
only two or both.
Odd man out.
Yes,
like,
odd man out.
Identifying. Okay. And also that some of the one of the question
is matching type question.
Matching type question. So let's suppose X follows a binomial distribution and with the parameters n and p, and n follows a Poisson distribution with the parameter lambda, and similarly X follows a binomial distribution with n and p, and p follows a beta distribution of first kind. Now we have to identify these are some of the compound distributions type are given. So X follows and the parameters in the random variable distribution follows another distribution. Now we have to identify the resulting distribution.
Okay.
So these are also some of the problem oriented.
Yes, yes.
So there are some conjugate pairs.
So that means
Bayesian.
they need to remember the four concepts.
Yeah.
Four concepts. These four concepts are to be matched with the this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So they will give the additional for the confusion aspect, and
yes,
they have to identify
yes,
it.
Sir. So how to attempt these kind of problems? Are generally the aspirants may generally face problem while solving this match type of problems. Any strategy is there, sir?
Yeah, it is somewhat very easy to identify because if they are more familiar about the procedure of the solvation of the problem.
Okay.
And some of the named distributions are there with the conjugate pair, that what you are calling it. So conjugate pairs are all that they are knowing it. It is very easy to identify it.
Okay.
Or suppose if you have taken the binomial and Poisson is one of the conjugate pair, which is resulting a Poisson.
Please repeat, sir, once again.
Binomial and Poisson.
Okay.
So resulting will be a Poisson distribution. Or binomial with the beta 1, again it follows a beta 1 distribution. Or the Poisson with the gamma resulting to a gamma distribution.
Okay.
So there are some sequences are following. These are generally that what they are already studying in the post graduation itself. So the more practice is also required in the same aspect.
So that means I have one doubt, sir, regarding this preparation of this examination. So generally the questions will be given from degree syllabus as well as PG syllabus also.
Yeah, post graduation syllabus is a major part.
Okay.
And automatically they usually they must
they should prepare for even
yes. Because it is
UG
a
also,
university to university.
Yes,
the syllabas may be somewhat
variation may be there.
Some of the topics they may cover and some of the topics may be this one.
Okay.
And as a common syllabus that they are placing it in the throughout the world also the same as throughout the
syllabus is
also
continuously.
Yeah. So that's why it is better to go for even without the graduation syllabus they cannot
come with the PG syllabus. Yes,
PG syllabus.
Yes, sir. So thank you, sir. Next chapter, the test of hypothesis, sir. Test of hypothesis.
Yeah, in the testing of hypothesis comes under the part of the statistical inference.
Statistical inference.
Yeah, statistical inference is classified into two parts. First, we have to estimate the parameters, what you have estimated, whether those are correct or not. So one is estimation theory and other one is testing of hypothesis. So in the testing of hypothesis also we are classifying into two, the parametric tests and non-parametric tests. So here the syllabus unit 4 is major containing the parametric tests, and the unit 5 is containing the non-parametric tests.
Yes, sir.
And unit 3 is the estimation. Yeah. In this the basic concepts of the testing of hypothesis. Even the concepts of the statistical hypothesis, types of errors, the level of significance, critical region, all these are all degree level concepts only. They are already studied in the degree second year syllabus, and in addition to that they are continuation the concepts of the most powerful tests and uniformly most powerful tests and likelihood ratio tests, and related to that the problem solutions, and most of these problem solutions are the theoretical orientation for whatever the distribution they have studied in the previous
problematic.
If they are perfect about that, then only it is possible to solve these problems. So, these are all interlinked the subjects. And also in this we are having sequential probability ratio test is there, that is another part, and totally around 10 questions of minimum that you can expect around from the testing of a parametric tests. And also we are having the non-parametric tests. So, non-parametric tests somewhat less weightage than the parametric tests, but these are all comes under the statistical testing of hypothesis. And the major books that what we are going to use for the reference books, one is the 𝗧𝗧𝗃𝗃, an introduction to probability theory and mathematical statistics, and the world sequential analysis for the sequential probability ratio tests, and C.R. Rao, the linear statistical inference, which is covering almost the major part of the syllabus also, and Lehman, which is major is parametric tests, and Srivastava, which is theory of estimation, and Surendran and Saxena, that is a statistical inference. So, these are problematic oriented and also the theoretical oriented. In the for almost all the examination, they will cover it.
Sir, one more, sir, actually what is meant with the factorial design generally in this does it come under this one or other chapter?
That is entirely an application oriented paper, sir. That is also that we are having under the linear models and design of experiments. So, under the design and analysis of experiments, the factorial experiments will come.
How many types of hypotheses are there, sir, generally? Do they get any questions based on that?
Yeah, because that first we have to identify the null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Generally, we are defining the null hypothesis is the possible rejection of a true statement. So, that is generally called a null hypothesis. That means, what you are assuming it is true and try to consider and try to test it, that considered as a null hypothesis. And what is the complementary statement to that?
When it will be neglected, sir?
Because we are constructing a test statistic using the MP test and UMP tests. Test statistics are constructed based upon the test statistic, where if the value of the calculated value or generally what you are saying that the critical value and comparing with the computational value and comparing of these two. If the calculated value is more than the tabulated or critical value, we are rejecting it, otherwise we are accept it. That is statistically that you are going to prove it.
So, could you please explain about alternative hypothesis also?
Yeah, alternative hypothesis is a complementary statement to the null hypothesis.
It's a complementary to the null hypothesis.
Null hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis, whenever that you are specifying it, it is maybe a simple hypothesis or it may be a composite hypothesis or it may be a composite hypothesis, it may be the value is taking either greater than or less than. So, like that if it is let us suppose if you are taken one of the class, the average mark of the class is 75. So, if the average mark of the class is 75 that I am specifying, which is generally said to be one of the null hypothesis, because I am assuming that it is the correct statement. Now, what is an alternative for this? That means the class average mark is more than 75 or maybe less than 75. So, both are said to be the alternatives. Some of them they specify that not equal to, I am not specifying exactly either greater or less. So, that is generally called a two-sided hypothesis. So, one-sided hypothesis means if we are specifying as strictly less than or greater than. Even suppose I am taking the classes and before taking the classes I conducted a test and collected the marks of the students. Is my coaching or training is useful to the student or not? So, that we can examine it. Or suppose I am having a set of some of the patients, before injecting the drug I collected the blood pressure readings, and after injecting of the drug, again that I collected the BP readings.
So that means this we can apply this statistics even medical, biomedical.
Yeah,
also.
in most of the medical sciences or the life sciences, social sciences, in almost engineering. So in each and every field that you are going to use the testing of hypothesis.
So one more, sir, actually is there any chance of getting a question from collecting the sampling on sampling?
Sampling also that we can expect around 7 to 8 questions on the sampling theory. It is a theoretical oriented questions. Okay. Some of these actually that you can go through about the sampling syllabus that is mentioned. We are having estimation of the population mean or population total, and sampling methods, and Thomson, Harwood and Thomson estimators, and determination of the sample size, and stratified random sampling, simple random sampling, systematic sampling, and cluster sampling, and two-stage sampling, and ratio and regression estimation in the simple random samplings. So the various the methods are there, and we can expect on each and every one, every part is the most important, and we can expect around 7 to 8 questions on the sampling theory.
Sir, actually as far as our aspirants is concerned, so what is the meant by the population, and next how to types of the event sampling also, stratified sampling and also something you have been discussing about that one. Could you elaborate about these things?
Yeah. Population means the collection of entire information about a particular characteristic under study. That means about which characteristic that you are interested to study, related to that the total information that you have to gather, and that is generally said to be the population. And the observations may be very huge, so it is very difficult to collect the total population. Therefore, we are collecting a finite subset of the population, that is generally called a sample. And we are having various sampling methods are there, simple random sampling, and we can mainly classify into two types, random sampling methods and non-random sampling methods. Random sampling methods are also called the probability sampling methods, and non-random sampling methods are the non-probability sampling methods.
That means two types, probability sampling and non-probability sampling.
In the probability sampling, we are mainly having the 5 that what in the syllabus, simple random sampling under with replacement and without replacement, stratified random sampling with under optimum allocation and proportional allocation and equi-allocation, and systematic sampling, and cluster sampling, and multi-stage or two-stage samplings. So generally whenever you want to collect the information, any one of these methods that you are going to be implemented. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next, regarding that linear models, linear models and analysis of experimental designs.
The linear models is one of the major part in the total statistics in the application oriented. The major is we are concentrating about the Gsmarkov theorem, which is one of the most important and the major assumptions about the Gsmarkov theorem and its applications. And without the Gsmarkov theorem and Cochrane's theorem, it is very difficult to study about the design and analysis of experiments also. So that is why the linear models, even whenever you want to express any of the equation, we are trying to express y is equal to x beta plus epsilon. Either it is a regressional equation, or it may be a econometric equation, or the general functional equations, and most of the cases that you are going to use the y is equal to x beta plus epsilon, which is generally said to be a general linear model.
That is y is equal to mx plus c form.
Yeah,
in general.
Yes. which is playing a key role, and because the major difference at here, if we are treating that y is equal to ax plus b,
yes, y is equal to ax plus
and there is no error part in that, it is a mathematics.
Okay.
If once that you are using the error part, so y is equal to x beta plus epsilon, because in the real time nothing is rigid.
Yes, yes.
So fixed value.
Yes.
So there
can
is
we,
some.
Can we call them as
yeah.
arbitrary constants?
Now they are not arbitrary.
Not
they
arbitrary.
are changing it.
Changing. Okay.
So I am collecting.
They are not variables, but they are changing.
Changing. So this error component here, the statistics is major is we are concentrating about the studying of the error.
Yes.
How the error is coming, how it is changing it, and what is its behavior, and based upon that you are trying to forecast.
Okay.
Because depends upon the situation, the error is changing it. Even that generally you are going for the stock exchange. So there is a fluctuations are there. The fluctuation is from morning to evening, or for hour to hour is also there are changes occurs. So why the changes that are occurring, that is entirely is we are trying to study under the part of the error.
Okay.
That is, error component is playing a key role in the linear models, and we are trying to analyze the same part. Linear models is actually is a one separate branch, and which is a general, and even regression analysis and the design of experiments or time series models, and all those we can express under the form of the linear models. And design and analysis of experiments also playing a key role for this examination, and they will ask around we can expect 10 questions on the linear models and design of experiments.
Okay.
In the design of experiments, we are having the complete block designs and incomplete block designs, the factorial experiments.
That means we have discussed earlier factorial.
Yeah, factorial experiments.
Yes.
And also we are having the fractional factorials and response surface methodology and mixture experiments. So in all these topics are the most important, and the students also they have to concentrate about the major is the factorial experiments.
Okay.
So in the factorial experiment generally they will get about the confounding factors and identifying of the alias terms, are given one particular the effect which is cannot be identified or we cannot estimate. That is generally what we are saying as the confounding in the factorial experiments. Such that AB is confounding, we have to construct a design. So this type of the problems are mostly they are asking in the various examinations. So they can expect about 4 to 5 questions on specifically on factorial experiments.
4 to
5 questions.
4 to 5 questions on factorial design.
Factorial
design. Okay, sir. So please continue the next topic, sir. That is the optimization techniques.
Yeah, next is optimization techniques.
Okay, a reference book, sir. Please could you give the reference books also?
Reference books. Here I specified 5 books on linear models and 5 books on design and analysis of experiments. So the famous books are the linear statistical models by Searle and Kshirssagar, and Grable, and Draper and Smith, applied regression analysis. And on design and analysis of experiments, the major book is Montgomery and N.C. Giri, analysis of variance, and Das and Giri, design and analysis of experiments, and Kempthron. So these are the major books they can refer for the examination point of view.
So could you please share the even the questions, the model questions?
Yeah.
Some questions based on this one.
They will give the, suppose if you are taking the one of the factorial experiment. I am dividing, I am giving the 2 blocks. So if it is a 2 square factorial experiment, let us suppose A, B and A are in one block, and the remaining 2 are applied in another block. Now, we have to identify the confounding term in that.
So, can we call it as a 2 into 2 factorial, sir?
Yeah,
two
it is.
Square is
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
okay,
it is
right.
2 cross 2. That what
2
we are
cross 2
calling
cross
it.
2
It is
cross 2
2 square.
2 cross 2.
That means there are 2 factors. Each factor is having 2 levels.
Okay.
That's why it is called a 2 square.
Okay. So, what is the importance of the optimization, sir, in this actual measure statistics?
The optimization is one of the major theory in the nowadays playing a key role also, because at each and every situation we are trying to optimize the expenditures or because we are having only
profit also.
Yeah, almost all are not clear, and we are having only lower bounds and upper bounds.
Yes.
So, if once that are specified as a lower or upper bound, we have to consider what is an upper bound, a maximum value or minimum value. For that, generally are going to use this optimization theory. The major concept of the optimization theory is coming from the theory of matrices or linear algebra.
Okay, it is a part and parcel of linear algebra.
Yeah.
Operational research is
Yes.
different.
Actually, we are having Ax is equal to b with the system of equations.
Ax is equal to b. Yes, sir.
So, A is a coefficient matrix, that what you are calling it.
Yes, yes.
Now, if the determinant of the matrix A is, let us suppose, 0.
Okay.
So, is it possible to find out the inverse for
No.
that means solution for the system of equations?
Inverse does not exist.
Does not exist.
Yes.
That means here what we are considering is, if A is a singular matrix,
Yes, sir.
there is no unique inverse is existing. There are infinite inverses are existing it.
Oh.
Because the inverse of a matrix is defined as A into B equal to I.
Yes, sir.
Then B is said to be the inverse of A. So, now if there is no specification that A should be a singular matrix or B is a singular matrix, like that they are not non-singular. We are not having a restriction like that in the definition of the inverse.
Okay.
A into B is equal to I, then A is said to be the inverse of
B.
Suppose, as there be any like if A is a rectangular matrix, can you find out the inverse?
No,
No.
we cannot find out the inverse.
Now,
It
in
should
that type
be
of situations, how
square
to find out
matrix
the solving the equations?
Yes.
So, those are playing a key role in the optimization theory.
Okay, sir.
So, generally what we are calling as generalized inverses concept. So, there are many inverses are there, depends upon the criteria. We are selecting one of the inverse. So, that criteria, that generally what we are putting as an objective function. So, objective function.
Objective function means that need to be maximized or minimized.
Yeah, minimized.
Minimized.
Yes. And the subject to what are the conditions to be satisfied.
Yes.
And some non-negativity conditions, also they are putting it. So, we are solving. So, any solution which is satisfying only the constraints is generally called a basic solution, only the constraints. And any solution which is a non-negativity, then we are saying that it is said to be a feasible solution. And a non-negative, and that means which is a basic solution satisfying the constraints and also satisfying the non-negativity conditions, generally it is said to be a basic feasible solution.
So, based on this, the questions may be asked in the examination also.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, there are number of methods are there, the system of linear programming solvation. That means all the system of equations are linear. So, linear system of equations.
Linear means variables may vary, sir?
No.
Variables, how many variables?
x1, x2, x3, there are 3 or 4 or variables or n variables maybe.
N variables may be there.
Yeah.
But it should be linear.
Yeah, linear equations.
equations.
Objective function must be linear, constraints must be linear.
Okay. Objective function may be, for example, if you consider 2 variables, can we say that f is equal to capital Ax plus capital By, like that, sir? Can we define?
Like maximize z is equal to Cx.
Okay. Instead of
z C1 x1 plus C2 x2, suppose if there are 2 variables.
2 variables.
And which is a linear equation.
Linear equation.
And constraint A1 x1 plus A2 x2 is less than or equal
sir,
to.
now we shall continue after session, sir. We have one more phone call.
Yeah.
So please mute your TV and you can ask your question directly and introduce yourself also. Okay, ask your question, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Ask your question, sir.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Sir, ఏంటికు గురుకులంకు ప్రిపేర్ అవుతున్నాం సార్.
Very good. So please.
పెడగాజీకి అర్థమవుతుంది సార్. పెడగాజీకి కొద్దిగా ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ఇస్తారేమని, బుక్స్ ఏమేమి కావాలో కొద్దిగా చెప్తారేమని కాల్ చేసినాం సార్ మీకు.
First, please introduce yourself. Where are you from?
సార్ మా సంగారెడ్డి సార్.
Very good, very good. So as far as the pedagogy class is concerned, already pedagogy classes has been telecasted through our channel itself only. You can watch through the YouTube channel also. Please go through the YouTube channel. If you have any doubt, please chat in the chat box. Definitely our experts are there. They are always available, so they can guide you in this regard. So please continue.
Books ఏమి కావాలో తీసుకుంటారా?
So what is the pedagogy means? Different pedagogy is there. What's your subject?
Mathematics, sir.
Okay, mathematics. Definitely in mathematics, definitely we suggest you. Okay, now that this session is actually meant for statistics, so please try to understand the viewers. Please ask the questions on content of the statistics. Sir, please try to continue, sir.
So linear programming problem solvations.
Yes, we are discussing linear programming.
So generally z is equal to cx subject to the constraint ax is less than or equal to b or greater than or equal to b, and x greater than or equal to 0, which is generally said to be a general linear programming problem. And for the solvation we are having various methods. Those are there in the syllabus. One is graphical method and simplex method, dual simplex method, and duality or penalty method or Charner's or two-phase method. So these are all the which are existing in the linear programming problems.
Okay, sir. So please continue, sir, in this one linear programming only.
Generally the graphical method is applied only if there are only two variables. Like what you said, z is equal to c1x1 plus c2x2 subject to the constraint a1x1 plus a2x2 less than or equal to some 10, and another constraint and x1 x2 are greater than or equal to 0. If the number of variables are more than 2, generally are going for simplex method. And even the simplex method, the first time that is 𝗳𝗏𝗺𝗺 is used.
Oh, great!
In the on the first the computer that is brought to the India in ISI Calcutta.
Year, sir, could you remember year?
Yeah, that is they applied, and in the second 5-year plan for the fixation of the rates they use the simplex method.
Oh, great! Great to know.
And there is another method, that is artificial variable techniques, two-phase method and penalty method, that is also called Charner's method, and dual simplex method and duality. So all these are generally said to be linear programming. That means unit 9 optimization techniques are concerned to the linearity, and whereas optimization techniques of 2 is the non-linear and the advanced part of the.
Sir, how many marks do we expect from this optimization techniques?
Around the 7 to 8 questions that you can expect on the unit 9, and around 7 to 8 on the non-linearity and other.
Okay.
So totally around 15 questions that you can expect on the optimization techniques, because 2 units of the syllabus that what we are having in OR.
So could you please continue about the optimization techniques too, sir?
Yeah. The optimization techniques tools, we are also having the transportation problem and assignment problem. So these are also said to be the linear programming problem solvation methods. And another is optimal sequence, job sequence. Suppose there are n jobs are there and n machines are there, and we have to allocate the jobs to the machines. So that is comes under the job sequencing. or job scheduling problems. So, these are all optimization techniques of the linearity. And there are some nonlinear programming problem solutions. The nonlinear, like Lagrangian method that is existing it, and Kuntaker conditions, and game theory that what you can see in the syllabus part, the slide, game theory, and introduction to the simulation, and queuing theory. So, these are the major 4 parts under the optimization techniques too. So, first part is entirely is nonlinear regression, nonlinear optimization problems. Wolff's method, Bayes' method, these are not directly are there, but generally they may also ask on the those problem solutions. And Kuntaker conditions is major, and game theory also that is one of the decision theory approach in the mostly they are going to use in the even the artificial intelligence also they are going to use the same strategies of game theory.
Yes, artificial intelligence. Now it is
because we have to take
yes.
the decision. One is must be an optimum one. So, in that case that you are going to use this one, and queuing theory is also generally called weighting strategies. Suppose there are some repair shop is receiving the items, and for repairing some time is taking it, which is follow some distribution of a Poisson or exponential, and what is the waiting time, or suppose even the generally in the traffic signals. So, we want to evaluate the waiting time at a signal point. So, these are all the applications of the queuing theory.
Q means is a line, or we can say the
waiting line.
Okay. Waiting line.
And because whenever the number of servers are less and the number of persons who are coming for the getting of the service is more, then automatically the waiting line is formed it.
Yes.
So, that is
so that we can experience in prominent hotels and malls and etc. also. Yes.
And simulation theory is one of the major which is coming to the even advanced part of the satellites and electrical engineering and mechanical engineering. Whenever they want to simulate the artificial the data. So, in all the cases that you are going to use the simulation. So, which is also playing a key role. So, these are the major optimization. Here also they will we can expect around 7 to 8 questions on the optimization.
Sir, you were the part of the designing the syllabus for even data science for our UG and PG students.
Yes, sir.
Could we relate the statistics to the data science? Sir?
So, data science is how we are applying the statistics or statistical tools by using the computers or machines using a some computer software.
So, nowadays actually in wherever you go in engineering colleges, data science is the more prominent place.
Yes, sir. So, we are the artificial intelligence and data science, machine learning techniques. We are treating that these are all the advanced multivariate statistical techniques. So, what we are having the multivariate tests are there, those are all the origination for the total data science.
Do they ask any questions on recent developments in statistics also in the examination paper?
Recent developments in
data science, what you have been discussing, artificial intelligence and like that.
Actually, those parts are not there in the syllabus. Not included in this one, because this syllabus is framed in the long back 7 to 8 years back only, the same, which is a common for all the universities of the post graduation, what they studied it.
This is enough. This syllabus is enough.
This is syllabus enough.
Okay, sir. So, please continue about this optimization techniques too, part, sir.
The nonlinear programming, and here the major reference books for the operations research. One is 𝗂𝗽𝗃 Gupta and Singh, and another one is 𝗃𝗽 and S.D. Sharma and J.K. Sharma. So, these are the major books which is covering the linear and nonlinear optimization techniques.
The both two chapters will be covered in this.
The 2 units will cover in these 4 books.
So, one more question, sir. Actually, just how do the question allotment from the probability chapter to this optimization techniques too, sir? Once again, for the benefit of our
generally
viewers or aspirants.
the distribution of the questions. Just to go through about the slide in this one. We can expect around 12 to 15 questions on probability theory, because it is one of the major, the core paper, and another the core paper is distribution theory. We can also expect around 15 to 17 questions on distribution theory, and estimation theory, testing of hypothesis and non parametric tests, around 8 to 10 questions on each. So, these are 1 to 5 are the core papers, and the multivariate tests and sampling techniques, these are application oriented papers. So, in the application oriented papers we are having around 5 to 8 questions, and the linear models is also one of the core part and also the application oriented. So, that is more weightage 8 to 10 questions, and optimization techniques around 10 to 15 questions on the overall.
Okay,
so,
next is
if
probability.
they concentrated more on the probability theory, distribution theory, estimation and testing and parametric, they will be guarantee getting of any of the examination, like CSIR examination or SET examination or any of the PhD entrance examination conducted by any of the universities. So, they can sustain, and the other parts application oriented, generally the weightage will be very less. So, in all the other examinations also.
Okay, sir. Actually, the probability is concerned probability. 12 to 15 questions or 17 questions
12 to
approximately.
Yeah,
they may
12
come.
to 15
The major
questions.
Bayes theorem is very important, sir.
Yeah, Bayes theorem is one of the most important, because this era is generally called Bayesian era. So, Bayesian era. Because we are forecasting in artificial intelligence, we are taking the optimization technique, the classification, naive Bayes classifier, which is one of the advanced the classification tool that what we are going to use in the machine learning and deep learning techniques, and simulation also, Bayesian simulation, that what we are going to use, because even when they want to design a new object, they are going to use the same automatic decisions whenever they want to take it, even vehicle navigation and all those automatic vehicle navigation, that what we are seeing in the recent actually comes under the data science, but the major inner technique that what they are using is the same.
Okay, Bayes theorem, and also some basic properties of the even probability as a basic probability, that is random experiment or sample space. Based on that one also questions may be asked.
General
addition theorems
are
on
very basic concept. They will ask less weightage.
Less weightage.
Yeah, but when as per the subject is increasing, the more part is the theory of convergence, law of large numbers, central limit theorem. So, these are the most important and which are very typical topics and which is very difficult to understand also. And the 50% of the weightage is for the major on problems related to the theory of convergence, law of large numbers and central limit theorem.
Okay. And generally, as far as the probability is concerned, which topic they feel difficult?
In
which
probability.
Area? In probability.
Actually, this whatever that I told, theory of convergence.
Theory of convergence.
Yeah, theory.
Okay. That
seems to be totally is a theoretical oriented, and most of them they are not.
Generally, they give more priority for problem solving rather than the theory.
Yes.
Yes, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Okay.
Then it is very difficult to understand the concept.
Okay. If
that's one of the major
once we understand the concept,
then
easily
it is very easy to solve
the problems also.
Yeah. And even any of the examination, they are asking on theory of convergence 3 or 4 questions on theory of convergence. Law of large numbers 3 or 4 questions. Central limit theorem 4 or 5 questions. Those are must.
Okay. Please once again, sir, could you show me the slides that marks distribution? That's very important.
Yeah.
As far as the examination is concerned. Second, distribution theory, sir. Please could you what are the
in the
more
distribution
important
theory
topics need
also-
to be kept in mind, sir?
Yeah, distribution theory, we are expecting around 15 to 17
Yes, sir.
questions. And first they have to concentrate on the basic distributions of discrete, like binomial, Poisson, geometric, hypergeometric, negative binomial, and the basic continuous distributions, normal, uniform distribution, exponential distribution, gamma distribution, and the Weibull distribution, and Pareto distribution, and log normal distribution, Cauchy distribution.
These are all the types of the distributions.
Yeah,
what we
so
have
they
discussed.
generally the on each distribution generally they will cover one question,
Oh.
either in the theoretical or it may be in application oriented, or either in the estimation of the parameters in the distribution.
So, for the sake of the our US, sir, what sort of question may expect from binomial distribution, sir? Either theoretical and probabilistic also, both explain, sir.
Yeah. As a theoretical orientation, suppose if you are taking X is follows a binomial distribution with the parameters n and p. Now, just before that, I will give the what is the binomial part.
Yes, sir. Please explain, sir.
X, suppose a random experiment is conducted. It is any of the distribution, don't treat as a distributional, it is a just like as a probability problem. Suppose a random experiment is conducted. In that there are only two possibilities. Say one is success and other one is
Failure.
say failure.
Yes, sir.
And assume that the probability for success in each time is a constant, say p.
P.
And the same experiment is repeated n times independently.
Same conditions or different conditions?
Same conditions.
Same conditions. Okay.
Then what is the probability for out of the n times that experiment is repeated, x times the success is occurs. So, such a probability is generally said to be a binomial probability. Now, here n is how many times the experiment is repeated.
Okay.
So, generally we are treating it as a fixed one, which is a finite value.
Yes.
And p is the probability for success. Probability for success must be a constant in each time. Then, if suppose the n is not a fixed one, if it is a variate and it is following some other distribution like Poisson, or p is a random variable probability, not a fixed one, it follows some beta distribution, then automatically the resulting distribution will form some other.
Okay.
These are all that what you are studying as a compound distributions.
Do they follow any sequential order? Any?
No, because each of the distribution parameter, there are some restrictions are there on each of the parameter,
Yes.
because n, that is number of times success or number of times the experiment is conducted. So, it may be a finite or it may be an infinite.
Okay.
Suppose if it is a large and follows a Poisson distribution,
Then Poisson
then,
distribution.
yeah, and resulting is a compound distribution will be
Okay.
Poisson. And even suppose if you are taking the beta first kind, then again it will form, so because p is a probability and the range for the probability will be 0 to 1. Therefore, there is only a chance for it follows a beta distribution of the first kind,
Okay.
or there is also another uniform distribution over the range 0 to 1.
This
some
0
of
to
the
1 is called measure or something, sir? What do we call 0 to
that
1?
is 0 to 1 is the measure and the probability value.
Probability value.
Yeah.
Always lies between 0 and
0
1.
and 1.
0 and 1.
Yeah, 0 and
Minimum is 0, maximum is 1.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Any what sort of the numerical questions may appear from this distribution, sir? At
yeah.
least try to explain about binomial
just
and
previously
also
that
Poisson also.
I explained about the lifetime of the component.
Yes, p
Yeah,
greater than x
yeah.
are equal to 4.
So,
we have. Yes, yes, sir.
more than what is the lifetime of the component greater than the 2 hours?
Yes,
It is even suppose the bulb that is manufactured, what is the lifetime of the bulb which is working more than 100 hours?
It comes under binomial or Poisson?
It is
distribution?
exponential distributions.
Pardon me, sir?
Exponential distribution.
Exponential distribution.
Yeah.
That comes under random variable also.
Yeah, x is the random variable.
Random
and,
variable also. Okay. Thank you, sir. And next, as far as the estimation theory is concerned, we try
so
to
estimation
give some
theories are the one of the major part in the statistical inference. And in the estimation theory, estimating the parameters, point estimation and interval estimation both are there. And in the point estimation, generally we are identifying whether the criteria for the estimation, unbiasedness, sufficiency, consistency and efficiency. Generally they will ask one question on each of these criteria.
Okay. How many such criteria are there, sir? How many?
4 criteria are there.
Four criteria.
So, unbiasedness, sufficiency, efficiency and consistency.
Okay.
So, these are all the problem oriented problem they will ask it. And some abnormal cases that they have to consider it. Let us suppose I am taking x is one of the random variable which is following some Poisson distribution with the parameter lambda, and I want to estimate the parameter lambda based upon the given sample. So, for that generally are going to use this point estimation, and the methods of the estimations are there, maximum likelihood method and another least square method also they are having in the syllabus, and also they are having computation of the Kramer-Rao's lower bound. This Rao is nothing but C.R. Rao's, who invented in his PhD.
That means he did a lot of contribution towards
for this one only
statistics.
He got the Nobel equivalent prize.
Oh, great. Great.
So, the Kramer-Rao's lower bound, and at least one problem that generally will get on the lower bound computation.
Okay.
That means, whenever you are estimating any of the parameter based upon the sample, what is the variation in the parameter. So, that what you are trying to evaluate in this one.
So, regarding testing of hypothesis, sir, questions, how many questions we get in the examination, and also what are the areas to be concentrated regarding this testing of hypothesis?
So, in the testing of hypothesis, we can expect
once again
one
show
is
the slides,
most
sir.
powerful test.
What is the, sir? That
Most powerful test, one problem generally they will ask it,
okay.
and UMP, that is uniformly most powerful test, generally they will ask one problem related to the distributions only, and on the maximum likelihood ratio tests. So, one problem, and also they are having some of the sequential probability ratio tests, and 2 problems related to the SPRT, and they are having some specified distributions like Poisson, normal and exponential distributions. So, so on the overall they may get around 7 to 8 questions on this
from this estimation chapter.
estimation.
Okay. And next non-parametric tests are next.
Yeah.
Non-parametric tests.
In the non-parametric tests, they are having very few topics only. One sample non-parametric test and 2 sample non-parametric tests, and one sample non-parametric test where they are having sign test, Wilcoxon sign rank test, and run test for randomness, and Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, and they will ask the problems related to either the assumptions or the physical conditions for applying or the numerical problems related to this.
Numerical problems will be given on?
They will give some small data, and they will ask the problem of the computation of the test statistic for those, like either sign test or Wilcoxon sign rank test. And even the 2 sample also they are asking on Mann-Whitney U test or Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and Wald-Wolfowitz run test of the 2 sample.
Regarding multivariate tests, next.
In the multivariate, this is most of the application oriented real time, and what generally in the data science they are studying major is data science is related to the multivariate tests. Principal component analysis, and generally this is one of the most important identification of the most important factors and factor analysis, canonical correlations and canonical variables, cluster analysis and Hartling t-square and Mahalanobis d-square, and also the classificatory problems using naive Bayes classifier and Fisher's linear discriminant. So, these are the major, and they are all application oriented statistical tools of multivariate.
Okay, sir. So, actually this multiple choice questions as well as negative marking is there, sir. So, what sort of strategy need to be followed by the aspirant of this degree college lecturers in statistics, sir?
When they are preparing, the more practice is required and they have to concentrate on theoretical orientation first. Then they have to understand the basic definitions perfectly and try to solve the problems as more number of problems as possible.
So, can we get any question bank regarding this all these chapters, sir? 10 chapters?
Actually, there are some reference books that I placed it. Just to go through about the slide in this one. These are all the objective type any of the examination of either it may be the Gurukula exam or it may be a DL or set examination. They can prepare by using these books. One is B.L. Agarwal Programmed Statistics, and another is Indian Statistical Service. There is a separate book is there, Chandresh Agarwal, and Upkar series, and another series is there for UGC CSR net examination, because the most of the syllabus is same from that. So, it is better to take that one only. And there is some of the websites also you can find out for multiple choice bits. Okay. And R.C. Gupta, the mathematical sciences, that is one of the, and also I had provided one of the link for the solved problems of UGC net and SLET examination.
Okay, net problems and also
already solved problems are already that is available in various websites. One of the link that also that I placed it.
Okay, sir. Actually, could you suggest anything, sir, regarding examination, how to prepare the examination once again? So, for the benefit of our all the aspirants.
So, whenever they are they have to go for strictly planning for the examination.
Okay.
And first they have to cover the core part, and in the whatever the order is also specified probability theory, but probability theory most of them they are feeling that it is very difficult, but it is one of the major and scoring aspect. And those who are less knowledge about the core papers, then they have to concentrate on the application oriented papers. That is 6 to 10 units that is entirely is an application oriented, and which is the last unit is entirely is different, and no direct math the statistical or probability theory or distribution theory knowledge is required for the optimization techniques.
Okay.
So, because their background, based upon that they have to plan it.
So, thank you, sir. You have given a lot of information to us actually how to prepare for the examination. So, I request all the aspirants, please go through the once again watch this session in YouTube channel also. Please go through the books suggested, as for the topic wise also saw suggested even. So, what sort of the nature of the questions discussed as well as the model of the problems have been discussed. So, please go through all the questions and also prescribed textbooks also. So, thank you, sir, for coming to our studio and given the valuable suggestions to our aspirants. Aspirant definitely they will go through the get to the examination. So, thank you one and all.